This is Spotlight on Student Government. I'm your host, Brian Persons. This past week, John Scholter was able to go to Senate. Let's go check it out.
This week, the Student Government Senate meeting was busy discussing a variety of topics, one of which included whether or not a new entrepreneur club should be accepted as a club here at Rider University.
Our goal is to bring in entrepreneurs who have a lot of business experience to come in and talk. We're going to have forums if we get approved. I'd like to meet at least 1 to 3 times a semester. At the meeting, like I said, we will have entrepreneurs there who will be giving us all the knowledge of how to run a business, how to operate a business, how to start a business. We want to have a question and answer period for any young entrepreneur who's interested in starting their own business.
The Senate meeting also brought up last week's vandalism incident.
Rider University will not tolerate these actions because we feel this is just despicable and an utter disgust. When we just had our most successful Unity Day procession the week prior.
And it's something that really made me frankly sick to my stomach when I went around looking at it with the police the other day, because it's just not something that is part of Rider University, and nor should it be part of any of our societies. And I think it's important for student leaders to take a stand to tell those other students, whoever it might have been student, might not have been a student, but whoever it is that this is not Rider.
One of the hot topics since coming back to Rider for the fall semester has been Centennial Lake.
The lake was being cleaned by facilities. I had a bunch of crews out there. We had a nice rainstorm last week. They were out there in a little rowboat there in rain boots, cleaning the algae out, and the fountain is working again, so I hope it's improved a little bit, the appearance of the lake, and I'm going to work on trying to get some of the weeds that we talked about, some of the high grass cut down to kind of improve the appearance on that end.
I also wanted to know how student government was progressing this year.
I think Senate's moving along quickly. It's actually impressed me. We have been getting a lot of things done and improving Rider as a whole. I'm really proud of Brian. He's done a really great job, and I think that the other leaders are young leaders, and I think they're impressing us senior leaders as a whole. I think they're really doing their part to better Rider.
From Spotlight on Student Government, I'm John Scholter.
With us in the studio, we have Christian DeFelice, the Interfraternity Council President. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Excellent. And what does the Interfraternity Council do, per se?
Well, the Interfraternity Council is a governing body of students that basically sets rules and regulations for all fraternities on campus. We have our own constitution, which typically supersedes the chapter constitutions, and the chapters are accountable for abiding by a lot of the rules and regulations we set forth.
What kind of issues does the Interfraternity Council like to tackle?
I'd say the biggest issue that we really like to harp on is probably the rushing. As I'm sure you know, being Greek, the rush process is dry. It's not a wet process, and there should be no alcohol involved that would give the people incentive to join your fraternity. We really take that very seriously, and the penalties of wet rushing are very severe, and they can sometimes go beyond the Interfraternity Council. So that's one of the things we like to take great pride in. And academics is another thing we really care about. We try to keep a minimum GPA of a 2.5 within the house. Right now, this semester was a 2.3. It's just been passed that if you wanted to pledge a new fraternity as a new member, you're going to have to have a 2.5 GPA, which I think is a step in the right direction.
Now, who decides of the change like that from a 2.3 to a 2.5? How does that get passed?
It's a lot like the Student Senate, actually. We need to have quorum within our meetings, which is 2/3, and someone will propose an amendment to our Constitution. And basically, it has to be second, it has to be reviewed, and then I myself would go and put it into writing. Then we would have a vote on during a general board meeting. IFC has an executive board and a general board. The executive board consists of the people on my council, and the general board consists of the people on my council along with the chapter presidents, along with a delegate from each house. The reason we do it during a general board meeting is simply because there's more input, and since it's going to be affecting the fraternities at large, we like to have them have a vote in what's going to be affecting them.
So you said the IFCs consisted of the different organizations on campus, and what is the counterpart to the IFC?
The counterpart to the IFC would be the Pan-Hellenic organization, which is the same exact thing, just for the sororities.
Okay. And you said that they're, again, grouped of different fraternities and sororities for each of those groups. How many Greek organizations do we have on campus right now?
Currently, we have 8 Greek organizations. The fraternities would consist of Alpha Epsilon Pi, Sigma Phi Epsilon, Tau Kappa Epsilon, and Zeta Beta Tau. And the sororities would be Zeta Tau Alpha, Delta Phi Epsilon, AZD, and then Phi Sigma Sigma.
Now, how would a person that doesn't know anything about the different sororities and fraternities, like sorority D Phi E, and then a fraternity like Tau Kappa Epsilon, how would they go about finding out the differences between them to make a good choice when rushing?
Yeah, one of the things I really encourage all new members to actually do is to, typically a new member will get sucked into one house, and they'll stay at that one house, and they'll get to know the brothers at that one house, and that's great. One of the things I did, and I encourage this of new members, is to actually go out and experience all the Greek organizations, because you may think that one's for you, but then you might go see another, and you may have a whole new view upon it, and you say, well, this one might be for me. The different fraternities have rush events, which is consist of anything from barbecues, football games, movies, anything that they think would be a good idea to have new people come out, meet the brothers, experience what their fraternity is all about, and it's a great thing. So that's probably the main way that I think that a new member would be able to actually go out and see the different aspects and qualities of each fraternity. One of the things that IFC is really stressing this year, it's just not about wearing Alpha Epsilon Pi across your chest or Sigma Phi Epsilon or any of the letters across your chest. It's just about going Greek. We want to create this bond within the Greek organization, which I think we have done a great job so far. That being Greek means being Greek, not being an Alpha Epsilon Pi or Delta Phi Epsilon or ZTA. So
good. So Greek life is definitely on this campus. Now, what kind of benefits would a person that wants to go Greek gain from going Greek?
Well, the way I think about it, about that question would be like this. Basically, going Greek, it can be looked at as a gateway. At least for me it was. Going Greek presents a lot of opportunities and challenges for the people who are within the Greek community to step forward and actually show what they're made of. I can honestly say that had I not gone Greek, I probably wouldn't be within a lot of the positions that I hold today. So I think that it provides a lot of opportunity. It challenges the students, and hopefully when they get out of here, they'll get back to the Greek community and hopefully contribute to the networking that we have right now.
No, I've been talking to different people on SGA about the alcohol policy. It is a big part of this campus now. How has this affected Greeks?
To be perfectly honest with you, it really hasn't affected Greeks any more differently than it would have affected an independent. We abide by the same rules that any independents will. I think that the Greeks have really bought into what the university is expecting of them so far. And, granted, we can't do as much as we used to in the past. I think it's for the better. It takes a lot of liability out of the houses, off the presidents, and, the school as a whole. It basically comes down to the point where, whether they like it or not, it's the law, and I think that we've made great progress this semester in, showing the school that we actually do care and we want to have a presence here on campus. We want to stay here, and hopefully that they've perceived it that way as well.
Now, an example that is across the nation is this program that's run by the University of Rochester called E for Excellence, or E for E, which is Expectations for Excellence. And it's a program where the university will look at each fraternity and sorority and review them and make sure that they're abiding by what they're striving for and make sure that they're going towards a more community aspect with the university. What kind of things are the Greek organizations doing with IFC and Panhell to kind of mirror that, or are we not?
The theme that I guess IFC has really stressed this semester, and we're going to continue it for next semester, is the whole aspect of fraternal integration. The community aspect, it falls right in line with that, in that, Ryder's theme this year is community connections. So we tried to piggyback off that and actually do the fraternal integration. We've had huge success with that this year. Just between bid day and Sweetheart Weekend alone, you'd see members from different fraternities and different sororities, outside throwing a football around or, sitting at the same table eating. It's just a great feeling to know that we're able to put aside all our differences and God knows that they are there. Put aside all our differences and really just show that we really care about this. We're all Greek here. That's really all that matters.
So that's the plan that you're going with?
Yeah.
Fraternal integration. Now, can you tell me what the sororities are trying to do, or is that a little harder?
It's almost a joint effort between Pan-Hellenic Council and IFC. They're running around the same lines. Pan-Hellenic Council, they're a little bit more involved with certain aspects of their processes. I guess you could say that, for example, their rush process is a lot more involved than the fraternity councils, just because they have regulations that are set forth by their national council that they really have to abide by, whereas the Fraternity Nationals Council isn't as involved with our process.
Okay. And are fraternities planning on doing a formal rush process like the sororities, or is it pretty much free reign for the fraternities?
We are starting to head towards that way. One of the things that was really implemented this semester was a week of non-competitive rush, which is where we drew names from a hat, being the fraternity names, and Monday through Thursday, since there are 4 fraternities, we were able to say, TKE, you're going to be going on Thursday. ZBT, you were able to go on Tuesday, and so forth. And this non-competitive rush days where basically you have the day to rush. No other fraternity is able to hold a rush event that day to put you at a disadvantage. It was a week long. IFC, we didn't get to do it this semester because of certain things that were going on, but next semester we're actually going to have our own rush events to give people an outlook on the whole Greek life as a whole. This way they don't just see it from the insider view of one fraternity, but they're going to see it from an external point, which is IFC. So,
excellent. And the News at Rider was able to cover 2 events that, in the News at Rider's eyes, were very successful: Sweetheart Weekend and Bid Day. What other events are you guys planning to do, and how did those weekends go?
Those 2 weekends went great. I received a lot of positive feedback from the administration and Greeks alike. We actually distributed a survey for Bid Day, and basically, said on a scale from 1 to 10, like, how did you feel that, A, B, C, D went? And can you please, give us some of your comments as to what we could fix? I can honestly say that those events were, they went a lot better than anybody else had thought they would be. So I'm really happy about the way those went. I know Ada was really happy about it, Katie, along with Mike, all the housing directors. Another big event that we have within the Greek community coming up, and unfortunately it is exclusively Greek, is on the Greek Awards Banquet. It's going to be held in, I want to say, late November. We still have yet to set a date for it, but basically what that does, it just highlights everybody's accomplishments. We give out like best new member, most accomplished member, anything along those lines, and it really makes people strive. There's incentive at the end of the line. It's something great that you can put on your resume that you've received. It's an honorable award. So I think that's going to come out great too, and that's going to be, like I said, at the end of November, early December, and hopefully that'll be just as much of a success as Sweetheart Weekend and Bid Day.
Excellent. Now, Christian, I know that you're part of Alpha Epsilon Pi, and you probably have some insight on what your organization does for the community and other communities. Could you give some insight on what your organization does, and possibly any other organizations that you know is doing good in the community?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that my organization is really involved with is the American Heart Association. We were just actually there, I want to say about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We put in a few hours for community service. The turnout was really good for our chapters. Unfortunately, it was during the day, and it was an event during the day, and actually basically crossed with one of the class times. So there were some members who were unable to make it. A lot of the things that go on within the fraternities are internal, and from my standpoint, I sort of have to not be involved with that because I have to be unbiased from a lot of with a lot of my views and my positions. So I'm not really able to speak on behalf of the other fraternities on campus. I know that it is required of all fraternities to have a philanthropy, to exercise it, and actually implement it, and give a certain amount of contribution back to their nationals. So I'm sure that all the fraternities and sororities on campus are actually doing stuff to better the community out there, along with community service and philanthropy. So,
excellent. So when can freshmen start rushing for houses? Does that start in the spring semester?
Yep. The reason freshmen are unable to rush their first semester at Rider is because you don't have a GPA. and you need a GPA to rush. Like I said, the GPA for the new members is going to be a 2.5, so make sure you guys have that when you go out there. And then, basically, they'll be able to rush their second semester freshman year. And like I said, I encourage everybody to go out and see all the different houses. Experience what Greek life has to offer. It can be a huge gateway for you. It presents a lot of leadership opportunities, and most of all, it's going to challenge you.
Excellent. Now, what kind of things can the freshmen be expecting from the sororities and the fraternities when the time comes for a rush?
They're going to be holding a lot of events. They're going to be pulling for you to come out. I can imagine, that the sororities especially are going to be approaching you one-on-one, saying, "Oh, it's nice to meet you. Why don't you come out to our rush event today? See what we have to offer." And it's really a great thing. The fraternities, we like to do more physical activities, in that we like to hold football games, basketball, a lot of barbecues. I know, ZBT used to have a lot of barbecues. API, I'm sure, SIGEP, it's just stuff basically where it's a very informal environment, non-threatening, where you're able to come out and actually, see what Greek life is, meet the brothers of each fraternity. And yeah, it can be intimidating at first. It can be intimidating to walk over there. I know I was in that position before. But you know what, in the end, it's really going to benefit you in the end. So.
Well, thank you. And what date is that going to start at? What date can the freshmen start looking forward to? Basically,
next semester, I want to say within the first week, you're probably going to start seeing flyers up for fraternities to come out and meet the brothers. So there is a formal rush period for fraternities on campus next semester, which I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. It's a little far ahead. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, expect things as soon as you get back, and don't be afraid to come out and meet everybody.
Thank you, Christian, so
much. It's been a pleasure.
This has been Spotlight on Student Government. We were here with Christian DeFelice of the IFC. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.